Rogers TV.
Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name is Karen. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather. Even though there's tons of snow, it's so pretty. You got to admit it. It is very pretty. And we live here and we choose this, so you got to admire it. You just got to love it. Anyway, this time of year, you'll see a lot of animal tracks, and I don't like when I hear people say bad things about some of the animals that come through, especially coyotes. I hear a lot of negative things about coyotes, and myself, I think they're beautiful animals. They are part of the ecological system. So today we've got David Rankine here, he's also an artist, musician, author, and educator. And he's been studying some coyotes down in Inver Huron, where I happen to be. Welcome, David. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Welcome, thank you.
Yeah. Now, you've been studying down here in Inver Huron. Why down here? Because you're not from here, right?
No, I live down near Brussels in Huron County, but I have an emotional tie to Inver Huron because our family camped there from 1962 onwards.
Yeah.
So it's like my sacred space.
Yeah, it is very beautiful down here. And I was telling you how I have coyotes come through our property all the time. We get them on our trail cams. I haven't seen any lately, but I know I'll be seeing some tracks soon. But all summer I see them come through. And I usually have 3. And I know they mate for life. So with having 3, would that be a male, a female, and a youngster, like a yearling or something?
Probably a 1 or 2 year old, yep, and a mated pair. Yeah, so they all mate for life, but only one pair in the pack will have pups.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how big are the packs usually?
Spring this year, in 2024, there was 16, including the new pups.
Wow.
But I think pack split. With the young males going off somewhere else to form a new pack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
that
there's
was
just too
down
many
here?
for that hunting area.
That was down here in Inver Huron?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So the ones I've got here are
So
probably broken away from the
we're
pack.
probably back to about 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah, I just see those 3 come through, and I think it's the same one because one of them has a bit of a limp, and it's been like that for years. So I think it's the same ones that come through. They never get close enough to the house. They always dart through the woods. They're smart that way. I have a dog, so it could be that they smell the dog and they don't know the size of the dog. It could be a great big thing or something little, but I've never worried about my dog out there with them, or anything for that matter. Now, you wrote a book.
That trio.
Pardon me?
That trio is part of a love story.
Oh, is that right?
It's wonderful. Yeah, this story that's unfurled, and I found out what happened to that coyote, the one that limps.
Yeah.
So people call her, I don't know, Limpy or something like that, but I call her Wind Sprinter, one of my kids at school, and her mate, which is a large dark coyote, is called Flying Cloud. And the third one is called Whitey because it's almost white, and it's kind of probably a grandchild or a great grandchild of that pair.
Ah, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So they're mated for life.
Yeah, that's what I figured because it was always the 2 that came together. Very seldom do I see one, but I mean, as far as I know, it's the same ones that come through. But last year, David, I was going to ask you about this. I think it was last year. There were maybe 4 or 5 of them, and they were out on the lake on the ice. And you could see them during the day. And a lot of people were concerned that they were out there. They thought, why are these coyotes out on the ice on the lake in the middle of winter? People say, well, I'm going to come down there and shoot them then, if they're danger.
Yeah.
Which, bothered me. So why would they be doing something like that, sitting out there on the ice in the lake?
2 reasons. Easy to move around on the ice as opposed to plowing through deep snow in the forest. So they'll go down to the ice. Yeah. Their eagles are around now because they're all wintering over at Bruce Power. Mm-hmm. They dive, they get their trout or their salmon. The crows chase them, make them drop the salmon, and that's what the coyotes are after.
Oh,
drop
really?
salmon. Yeah.
Would have never thought that, but yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, because there are some eagles around here. We have seen some around, and owls. And we've
Right.
heard the coyote at night, the coyotes, which is quite the sound. It sends shivers up your spine, doesn't it? Hearing
Oh yeah.
coyotes
Yeah.
yelping. And it sounded like they were right outside my bedroom. I don't know what they
Mhm.
were doing, but it was pretty darn scary to hear. It was. It was. It
Was
was.
it a large group or just like single howls?
It was a group. There was more than one. I don't know how
Oh,
many
okay.
because I didn't look. I could just hear them, and it sounded like there were a few of them, but it's quite the sound. I mean,
Yeah.
in the summer you're outside and you hear them way off in the bush, which is no big deal. My dog just kind of looks and comes back in the house. Thankfully, doesn't want to go after them. So I know they're all around here now. The ones you've written a book about the two bays pack, and those are the ones from
Yes.
from. Okay, so why did you call it the two bays pack?
So Inver Huron Bay and Holmes Bay and Gun Point. So their territory goes up to Bruce B.
Mm-hmm. The
It goes as
beeline.
east to Tiverton,
Mm-hmm.
and south to McCrae Point, and that's their territory. That pack. So
Uh,
that's the name I gave them.
how big a territory do they
Yeah.
normally
There's
have?
another pack north of there,
Yeah, we are
about
south of
25 square kilometers.
25 square kilometers. So that would mean the ones in Inver Huron are also the ones
Yeah.
that would come down this way. We're south of the Bruce Platte. We're just a bit south, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so we've
Right.
seen them here. So okay, so tell us some of the interesting things you've noticed with these coyotes, our Inver Huron boys.
Oh, they're very social.
Mm-hmm.
They can model us humans what it's like to be a mammal and take care of their young. So this interesting story between Flying Cloud and Wind Sprinter, she was shot 4 years ago by a hunter. So she was unable to run for 4 years. She couldn't run. So Flying Cloud stayed with her, would always be photographed walking beside her, not in front or behind, but
Mm-hmm.
beside her, like shoulder to shoulder, and he'd do all the hunting for her. And last winter was getting very slow and very ill, and that's when Whitey, who was like a grandchild, a 2-year-old, showed up as if Wind Sprinter had chosen a new mate for her mate, and she passed away in June. So
Oh,
all I could see on my cameras was Flying Cloud and then Flying Cloud and Whitey now all the time. So now they're a pair
so you have cameras all through the park, do you, in that area?
around the park. Yeah.
Around the park, yeah.
Yeah. I started off with them in the park, but now they're around the park.
Yeah,
So I know where the den.
yeah. Oh, you do know where the den is? Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
seen a den around here. I would never go looking for it, that's for sure.
I've found 25 dens.
Really.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just
You can find them in the winter.
yeah, in the winter is where you would find them, I would think, because it's a little easier to make a den, I would think, under the snow, wouldn't it be?
Well, they'll build their dens October,
Yeah,
November. They'll do
yeah.
dens. So they're 25 dens I've found, old dens, new dens.
Oh,
They use them every 2 years. They change them up. They dig into a sand dune, so it's really easy. And they go down below the frost line.
oh,
And
wow.
that den's only used by the pupping mother and the pups. That's it. The rest of the coyotes don't go down there.
Well, well, that's good. And they will reuse these dens, will they?
Sometimes they'll re-excavate them later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they get filled with pup feces and fleas and stuff like that. So that's why they abandon them, start a new one. But they stick very close. The dens are all clustered in a very small area on the south end of the park.
Well, they do take care of each other. I remember reading that the pack are very protective of the whole pack, not just
Yeah,
each other, the mates, that they will defend all of them, especially the pups.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. So the efforts of the whole pack go into bringing up one litter of pups, which is pretty cool, I think.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
do anything for those pups.
Like a
They
herd of
train them
elephants.
up in the late fall,
Yeah.
right? They assign a teenage coyote to them to sort of guard
Yeah.
them during the summer while the rest go
Yeah.
out hunting. Eventually,
Mm.
by by the time winter comes and they're 9 or 10 months old, then they're trained up on how to pack hunt and sort of, work with the whole pack. So in the winter, you're more likely to see the whole pack on the move. It's quite thrilling. I've seen them.
Well, I guess that would be kind of what I saw on the ice then, because, well, it wasn't a big pack. It was probably, I think maybe around five. There were maybe five of them that I
Yeah.
saw. And I know people were getting a little worried about it. It was all over Facebook, saying that they're worried about these coyotes. And, you hear stories about them attacking small kids and, things like that. I think those are very few and far between.
Yeah.
And there's probably a reason. They could have been right at one of their dens, I would think, because I don't think that aggressive, are they?
No, they're not aggressive at all. They'll try and lead you away from the den area, kind of escort you out.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get struck 5 times by lightning in 1 year than you are to get attacked by a coyote or get attacked by a domestic dog. I've been attacked by domestic dogs in the park.
Yeah. Oh, is that
Right?
right? Oh,
Yeah.
just people out walking their
But
dogs.
yep. And I never worry about the coyotes. I walk at night. They
Mhm.
brush up against me. The whole pack shows themselves to me. They know who I am now.
Yeah,
I'm
because you're
sort
there.
of their bipedal courtesy uncle.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the ones here. I've only once seen one come near me. It was coming up the driveway, and as soon as it saw me, it turned around. And it was when we were first moved up here. And the first thing I thought of, oh my God, it's a wolf. It looks like
Yeah.
a wolf. And I've learned that the difference between a wolf and a coyote is their snout and their ears. And one of them, when they run, their tail is straight. Now, that's the wolf, isn't it? When they
I
run, the
think so,
tail
yeah.
is straight
Yeah.
and the coyote is down. Because they are beautiful animals. They really are. I was going to send you a picture of, I call it a selfie. It came right up to the camera and I got a beautiful, beautiful picture of this coyote. I thought, oh my God, you're so beautiful. It wasn't a dirty gray. It was nice colors. I was very impressed with it when I saw it.
Was it a kind of blonde color?
No, it was very. I'll send a picture of it to you. It was a reddish color. It was in the
Oh,
summer.
okay.
Yeah, it was in the summer, and it
Yeah.
was during the day, and that's when I usually see them during the day. I do have them
Okay.
on the camera at night too, but I do see them come around during the day, and I've never worried about it. Never, I
Oh,
enjoy.
cool. Yeah.
We enjoy watching them, to be honest. We get a kick out of seeing them come through, especially when it's the same ones. We think it's the same ones
Yeah.
anyway. Because
Oh, yeah.
they're here. I'm sure there's 220 acres behind us that is all bush. And I'm sure they go back there
Yeah.
and there's probably all kinds there. And they could all be part of that pack that you're talking about of 25.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I know that they have a gestation period of 63 days roughly. Is that 60 to 63? And yeah, they mate for life. That was something that I was surprised. I didn't realize they did that. I guess wolves would be the same, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah. They'll mate. They have this emotional bond. So they have an emotional life. By the age of 1, they've chosen their mate. Even if they are not going to be producing children, they
Yeah.
still mate and bond together. Yeah.
Now,
And take care of each other, hunt together.
what surprised me is they have between 2 and 10 pups. That's a lot of pups.
Mhm.
That, of course, that's
Yeah.
probably the extreme, but they said the average is about five.
Yeah. I think it's, yeah, 5 usually, 5 this past year.
Now, how likely are they going to live out their life almost to old age? How old do they live anyway, first of all?
I think on the average about 7 years. The only predators, human vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Or hunters. But
Right.
the traffic going in and out, and past the Bruce Power, people are driving very fast, and that's where they get killed.
Oh, yeah,
On,
the traffic here
on
is pretty.
Second Concession, yeah,
Yeah,
Albert Street.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, when they're out at night too, that's always a scare. I mean, mine is always a deer. I'm always worried about deer coming out. But I never really thought about the coyote, but yeah, they definitely could. So the 7 years would be their whole lifespan. Is that what that would be? That would be the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
that's big. And these eastern coyotes they have wolf DNA in them,
yes, I
so they
did.
tend to be bigger.
Yeah, I did see that. And it was in an Orangeville paper, and they were calling them coy wolves. I've heard coy
Yeah,
dog. They're calling them coy wolves, and that they were bred this way years ago, that they're not likely to be bred, or the coy dogs, that they were bred that way years ago, and people don't breed them. They don't breed in the wild like that, they were saying. It's very rare
yeah,
to have a coy dog that's not been bred
yeah,
purpose. Because a lot of
yeah,
people talked about these ones out there being coy dogs.
yeah. They all have a little dog DNA, usually a large dog that's been invited into the pack. Um, and they have wolf DNA in them. So the wolf blood allows them to pack hunt. Western coyotes don't pack hunt, but the eastern coyotes who have come into Ontario in the last 120 years, they pack hunt. And
Yeah.
they have a different jaw structure than Western coyotes, which allows them to attack from behind.
Ah, ew.
You know, there's quite a lot of resistance from deer hunters. You know, they don't want coyote packs around because they take deer. A tiny amount, only 7% of their food comes from deer meat. The rest is like wolves, small rodents,
Right,
fruit,
yeah.
grass,
Yeah, rabbit
fish.
squirrels. I'm
Yeah,
surprised about the fish. I would have never thought that. I never thought of
yeah,
them as fish. I mean, they will eat, I read that, but they will eat vegetable. I guess if they're hungry enough, they're going to eat almost anything.
yeah. Well,
Is,
they're the optimum survivors. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they'll go for anything. They climb trees looking for apples and
Oh,
pears and
really?
cherries, and they'll eat grass if they have to. They'll go hunting in the river for fish and take
Yeah.
fish out of the little Sauble River there in the park. Um, Wait around for the crows to catch, to make the eagles dump their loads, right, and then eat.
That's so funny. I would have never thought that they would go after the eagles dropping their. That's amazing. Would have never
Yeah,
thought that. I mean, I would have never thought of them as eating fish.
yeah,
Think of them as carnivores, and with reading this, yeah, it says that yeah, they'll eat almost anything.
yeah. And deer, taking a deer, that's the last option at the end of the winter when nothing is left. Because
Yes.
they have to organize. It takes a lot of energy. They don't want to expend their energy, and it's dangerous. They might get
Yeah.
kicked or run
I,
over.
I've read that is absolutely their last option in the winter. In the
Yeah.
spring, they're likely to go after the baby deer, I would think.
Mhm. Yeah.
But in the winter, yeah, they say that they don't want to do that. And deer are pretty darn fast. They
Yeah.
can they can go through the woods a lot easier than a wolf or a coyote because of their
Yeah.
long legs. They can
Yeah.
move pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I
I,
wonder
I
how.
I found plenty of spots where I can see them having chased deer, but they're just playing with it, right?
Yeah.
Or they're training up the young ones how to chase the deer, how to pack hunt, putting an ambush ahead of the deer and driving the deer down to the ambush.
Mhm.
Um, all kind of behavior we learned from wild dogs tens of thousands of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
How to hunt.
Well, I know they're mostly afraid of people, although
Hmm.
people don't think that. But yeah, they are afraid of them. They say they will retreat if they see somebody. And if you see them, you're supposed to act almost like it's a bear by making yourself big. Don't turn around and run. Just yell at them
Oh
so
yeah,
that they're afraid of you, to keep them afraid of you.
yeah.
And now,
Don't
what was
don't
that?
feed them. Don't feed them.
No, because I don't want them coming back.
Yeah.
I don't want them thinking that there's a food source close by. I mean, I don't keep anything outside because of raccoons and everything else. I don't want them to think that they're allowed to come here and forage for anything. So I'm always careful that way, where I know a lot of people
Mhm.
like to put out seeds in the winter for the birds, and they say that's not good because it brings the smaller animals, and the coyotes are coming after the smaller animals.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you don't have a rat problem or a mice problem by your house, think a coyote. They
Yeah.
eat an enormous amount. The coyotes and the foxes, Inver Huron, and the fishers too. So,
Yeah. I was telling Mark that I've had a fisher come through here twice. And the first time I saw it was in the winter. I think it was last winter. And I was sitting near a window, and I caught it out of my peripheral. And luckily it stood there and just didn't move. And I looked at it and I thought, what the heck is that? It looked like a big cat with a big tail. And I followed it the best I could. I couldn't get a video of it, although I did get it on my trail cam. And I didn't know what it was. I had to look it up. And it was a fisher. And then just this year, we saw one on our trail cam in the summer, not just kind of hopping along, because they hop like, they don't walk like a cat. They kind of, and it was amazing to see. And I've heard their sound.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty, in fact, we used to camp here before we built, and
Okay.
I'm almost sure we heard it attack something, because the sound was, it was terrible. It was terrible. I think it was worse than the coyotes yelping, because
Oh, yeah, it's a scream. Yeah.
it's like blood curdling. It was terrible. I mean, of course, we moved right into the trailer when we heard that, because it was such a sound. Actually, we thought it was an owl that had caught something, but now that
Okay. Yeah.
the fishers are around, a lot of people are surprised when I tell them there was a fisher here. But now I imagine they're over. Have you seen them at the park?
Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah.
two families of fishers in the park,
Right.
north end and south end. Two
Yeah.
families of foxes, north end, south end.
We get fox here a lot, and they come pretty close to the house. I mean, they're very pretty. They look like they're healthy. Even the
Yeah.
coyotes, they look healthy. They're not scrawny. So I know they're being fed well. They're probably eating all my little rabbits that are here in the summer. But the foxes, they come right up to the house, which is like right through the garden. We did have the bear. The bear came through here. All I got
Oh,
was
yeah.
yeah, the big butt. I know he comes through because he goes up to the back behind us. And I just caught his butt going through my garden, and that was about it on my trail cam. But I was
Yeah.
quite surprised to see him here.
There's a few of them. They're wintering over in the park now.
Yes. Yeah, that's where a lot of people see them, I think, over that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and the park staff are delighted because now they have their own bears.
Yeah.
Right? Only their parks have their own bears. And they haven't bothered the campers at all. I've heard them, I've
Yeah.
smelled them, I've walked close enough to hear them snoring at night.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So you're wandering through the park at night, are you?
Hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's brave. That's brave. I mean, I don't know that I could do that.
I tend to stay out of the bush when it's pitch black. If there's a full moon,
Yeah.
there's quite a lot of light and starlight, you know. But yeah, at
I
night,
imagine with a full moon, you're going to see a lot more too.
yeah, that's right. On the full moons, they're more active. On the winter and summer solstice, they're more active.
Yeah.
And on the equinoxes, they're more active too.
I know, like the full moon, of course, because that affects a lot of animals. I mean, it affects people. So I would think that you would see a lot more activity on a full moon of everything. I imagine that's a good hunting time for them too, would it be?
Well, they're using mostly smell and hearing for hunting. So illumination is not important. They do up to about 70 to 90% of their hunting at night after twilight and
Oh,
before morning twilight. But you'll see them all through the day. Certain coyotes, like the one you described, the red one,
yeah.
it hunts in the middle of the day
Well,
by
that's when
itself.
we see them. Yeah, that's when we see them here. And I'm like I said, this one is red. I'll send you the selfie. I call it a selfie because he stood right in front of the camera.
Oh,
Yeah, so I took a still shot of it. I've had a turkey do the same thing, and it was a very pretty red. As I remembered, it was a very pretty red, and like I said, it looked very healthy. I thought it looked great. We're
well,
going to
I'll
take
give you one guess as to what I call that one.
what one?
Red.
Red.
The red's sibling is Whitey, and the other sibling is George. I call it George because it always goes up to the camera. It's Curious George. It
Yeah.
always checks the cameras out, knocks them over sometimes.
Yeah, I was very surprised that it came right up to the camera. Wow, that's amazing. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be
Okay.
right back, and we're going to get some more stories from David.
Okay.
Don't go away, everybody. Thanks, David. Yeah, we got to take a break in between. I got to.
For me, the end was just the beginning. I felt I must come. If I did not come at once, it would be too late. And these places that are watered with the best blood of Canada might only be names and memories. I see it in the soldiers, the grief I know so intimately. And I will not abandon these men to it. The isolation wears on me. Slowly, the silence takes over, as if my heart has given out of air. I cannot talk. I can only paint.
For more than 2 years, Mary Ryder Hamilton painted the battlefields of the First World War, creating an unforgettable visual record of service and sacrifices at immense personal cost.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Thanks for coming back. I hope you're enjoying this. You're getting a little education on coyotes and not to be so afraid of them. I mean, not go up to them, but not to be afraid that they're around your area. They are, like I said, they're part of the ecological system. I know they eat the rabbits and people don't like that, but it's part of the ongoing ecological system, like I said. They're here for a reason. The rabbits are here for a reason, and just like spiders are on this earth for a reason. I don't know why, but I know they're here for a reason. I just try to stay away from them. If they come in the house, they got to die, or I can pick them up and take them out. But anyway, coyotes. Okay, now David has been studying the coyotes in Inver Huron. The two Bays pack. Okay, you got that right. Yeah, he's been here studying them down in Inver Huron because we have some down here, which come through my property too. So give us some stories on some of these ones that you've been dealing with in there that you watch. You say you've got.
So when I first started 4 years ago, there was only 6 or 7 because 4 had been killed by hunters and 1 had been severely wounded. So it took them a while to build the pack back up. The next year, they only had 1 pup that survived. So I called that one Jacob. And the next year, Jacob was put in charge, as a teenager, was put in charge of the next litter, which was 3 survivors. So I had lots of photographs of Jacob walking along with his head down, with these 3 little pups following him around. Right? That's so the adults can go out and hunt, bring back the food. They're really playful. I've found caches of toys in the middle of the bush. There'd be this little collection of old shoes, pop cans from the 70s, dog toys, pens, eyeglasses, all with teeth marks in them. So they'll go to this cache and play with the toys and put them all back, right, and then go off.
A regular dog.
Yeah, I followed them in the winter, like up to the whole pack on the move, and the last couple are pups dragging big sticks in their mouths, so you can see the marks they leave. You can only imagine the conversation. The mom saying, "Drop those sticks. There's no other sticks like this, Mom."
Yeah, that's just like a dog would do, right? Yeah. I know my dog.
They play with the bear. I found tracks where they've been pestering a bear, and wolves do it too.
Cohabitating.
Yeah, they'll get all around the bear, and the pups will nip in and then nip the bear on the rear. And as the bear spins around, the next pup comes in and does it. And the bear eventually just has to sit down. So I found these great big bear bum marks in the sand and these little tracks all around them, So they're coexisting. There's about 6 bears in the park now.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I found the den twice, yeah.
There are some people down here that see them all the time.
Mhm.
I think because I'm further back off the road, I know they come through because I've seen their trail, their tracks, but I think they go in behind me instead. Behind me, they had honey bees,
Oh,
honey hives, and he showed me where they had clawed a lot of the hives and on the trees, how
mhm.
they had clawed the trees. So I know they go back there. And I, like I say, I don't know if there are any wolves around here. Have you seen any wolves?
No, it's just the coyotes. They've filled the niche left by wild wolves. Yeah,
Yeah,
so the coyotes have moved in as the apex predator.
yeah. There's not been any wolves that I've heard of in this area. Now, what some people are telling me are they are seeing cougars here, and I've never. I don't know. I looked into it once, and they said they haven't been here in years. I think they're
That's
just.
what I hear.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's keeps saying there's cougars around here. Maybe it's a bobcat. Would there be bobcats here or something like that? Lynx?
There are bobcats, and there's
Yeah.
a population of feral cats that live in the south end of the park. I've got photos of them,
Oh, yeah.
but I have come across cat tracks that wide.
Is that right?
Yeah,
That,
so that's a cougar, big
yeah.
giant track. And they could just be wandering through. The Ministry of Natural Resources says no, there's not, but a
Yeah.
lot of people have seen them.
Yeah, because I contacted them once because I was in a big debate about this. Somebody said, oh, in fact, they showed me a picture of one and it was a big domestic cat because it wasn't right colors, it was striped. And so I was curious, are there cougars around here? And they said they haven't seen them in years, just like the rattlesnakes. They've all moved on because it's so well populated now that they don't expect that there have been any around here for so long.
Yeah, it's knowing where to look. I've seen rattlesnakes as late as 3 years ago in the park. I almost stepped on one,
Is that
and a
right?
blue jay yelled at me, and I held my foot up, and there was a rattlesnake. Not a very big one.
I know
Um,
there's a lot of other snakes here, like milk snakes. We got a lot of milk snakes, and
yeah.
and they look a lot like the rattlesnakes.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen any like that. Just mostly garter snakes is all I see around here. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not looking for them either.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm careful when I go out in the woods not to have. I had a few ticks. One year, I had 3 different times. I had ticks, deer ticks.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was nothing, but yeah, you got to be careful out there. I mean, whenever we would go walking in the woods, we always take, it was crazy. We used to always carry a machete with us just in case, hack
Mhm.
down some branches and that. But just in case, my husband's always telling me if you're going to take the dog in the woods, take the machete just in case you see a coyote or something.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've never worried about it. I don't think they would go after my dog. Hard to say. You just don't know, do you? I guess it depends on how hungry they are.
Yeah. A small dog. There's been lots of
Yeah,
situations in which coyotes have taken small little lap dogs, right?
yeah,
Well, it's food, but a
yeah.
larger dog, they're more likely to want to play with them.
Yeah, my dog, the one I have now, she's about 32 pounds. So she's smaller than the boys we had, but she's not small enough that I think they would go after her
Yeah.
unless it was a group attack or something like that.
Yeah. The folk that used to live at Philosopher's Wool on Albert Street,
Mhm.
um, they had a big golden lab, and at the same time every day, a lone coyote would show up and wait
Yeah.
until he let the dog out the door, and the two of them would play with balls and things. Then the coyote would leave. So, they quite often there's dog mushers that are in the park on a Sunday
Yeah.
in the winter, and they'll quite often see coyotes watching them
Oh,
as a
is that
team
right?
goes by. Yeah, they're like, "Whoa, those are big dogs. Let's get them in the pack."
Yeah, I've seen the dog mushers here before, and I think it's amazing when I see them going around. But the park would be a perfect spot because it's not plowed in the
Yeah.
park, so they can get through easy. So it's got to be tough on you getting through there in the winter then.
Yes, at times it's pretty, it's hard going. I
It's
worked up some muscles, let me tell you.
well, you haven't been up here since we got all this snow, I don't think.
No,
We've got
no.
quite a bit here right now. Quite a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah,
And for
it's
the snowshoes.
Yeah, that's funny because when you mentioned snowshoes, last year I was walking down my driveway and I found footprints and they were huge. And I put my foot next to them. I thought, what kind of animal would make this kind of footprint? Because you could almost see the toes. Of course, what goes through your head, Sasquatch, things like that. And then my husband looked at it, he says, those are snowshoes.
Oh,
So he's come walking around with snowshoes.
yeah.
I thought, holy cow, there's got to be something big out here to make a track like that. And yeah, he knew right away as soon as he saw it. He said, "No, those are snowshoes." And then my neighbor told me he saw them coming out of the coming around our property out the other way. So I was quite surprised. But yeah, you would have to wear snowshoes out there, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, especially in from the shore. The shore is usually, wind blowing. You can move along the shore road in the park, but in back around the cemetery and east side of massive snow drifts, like
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 feet deep.
I believe that because we've seen them here on our property. We have two driveways and we don't even use the front one because it's so long and the drifts are ridiculous. You'd never get a snowplow up there unless it was a big major one. So yeah, it would be interesting to walk through the park in the winter.
Yeah.
If you can
Oh,
handle it.
it's beautiful. I
Yeah.
usually arrive for dawn to see
Yeah.
the sun come up in the park. An interesting story about using snowshoes. I'll go in there and be bushwhacking,
Yeah.
looking for coyote tracks, and then go back the next day and find the coyotes have been walking in my snowshoe tracks, right?
Yeah.
They want to expend as little energy as possible. And
Yeah.
that's why they'll walk in straight lines like wolves, right? So they
Mhm.
just step on each other's footprints. Um, yeah, that's one of the laws of nature. Conserve energy. Don't. So that's when you look at an expanse of snow, you'll see all kinds of tracks. You
Yeah.
can spot the coyotes because they're going in straight lines. They're
Yes.
they're running like they have a plan, and they just run the plan. They don't go sniffing around. They know exactly where they want to go, how long it's going to get them to take them to get there.
If we didn't see them on the trail cam as, going behind each other, you would think there was only one. But
Yeah,
we see, and it's right, they go single file.
yeah,
They don't seem to stray much until they smell something that they want to stop
yeah,
and smell. But other than that, yeah, it's just a straight line.
yeah.
They,
So in the campground area in the park, you'll see them go in line abreast, like they're shoulder to shoulder, about 30 meters apart, and that's them hunting rabbits. They'll just run in a line, and the rabbits will bolt in front of them. And there's usually a coyote behind the rabbit somewhere waiting for the kill. They're very, very well organized. This is where humans learned a lot of their hunting skills from.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
this.
Now, do many people, I know they do, but do many people kill the coyotes? There's not a bounty on them right now, is there?
I don't really know, but I talk to hunters who just delight in shooting them, and I don't know why. I always ask them, well, why do you do that? Like, they're living creatures; they have a right to live,
They're
and
there for a reason.
they have their use, their purpose, right, in the
That's right.
environment.
That's right.
If you
Yeah.
start killing coyotes, you're going to upset the
Yeah.
balance again.
I remember reading that in Yellowstone National Park, they brought in wolves to handle some of because the wolves were all gone. People had killed all the wolves and they needed to come back so they could get that balance back. So if all the coyotes went, we would be overrun with all kinds of things.
Yeah, rodents. Yeah, the
Yeah.
deer they are taking are probably ill, just like when wolves take them.
Yeah.
The old and the ill. Yeah, they're just keeping everything in balance, beautifully in balance.
That's right. Yeah. That's why I say I hate the fact that they come and get my little baby rabbits because we have lots of rabbits here, and I imagine they come for that. I know foxes, they say, don't go after the rabbits. They go after the real small stuff, unless it's a baby rabbit, I suppose. But they go for more rodents or squirrels, don't they?
Yeah, and possums. There's possums living in the area, lots of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I,
We got
I had a fox run past me with half a possum in its mouth. It was ghastly.
Oh, yeah.
And they won't move for you, right? Foxes are just audacious.
Yeah.
They come running up, but you have to move for them.
Well, that's what I mean. It came right up to our door. we have a door going down into the basement outside, and it was standing there looking down. My husband was shocked because it was right at the window, and he was there. He went over to the window, and it didn't take off. But it doesn't scare you to see it because they are so harmless. I feel they're harmless anyway. Foxes are just they're just like a dog, a little dog, except they're wild.
Yeah. And they stay out of the way of the coyotes.
Yes.
The timing's meticulous. They'll just be a minute ahead of a coyote using the same trail. They just stay out of their way because coyotes will kill them.
Well, I wondered about that too, about coyotes and foxes, how they get along together. But I guess if they're going after the same food source, there would be some competition then, because coyotes are going to go after squirrels, rabbits, rats, all that. The same things that the fox would go after, except for big game, like I said, the deer. Yeah. So now, over in the park there, you're saying, a lot of other people are keeping track of these coyotes over there too, right?
Yeah, I call those people part of Coyote Squad.
Coyote Squad.
And they feed their data to me, and then I'm working on this treatise now, this theory I have about coyote movement and what makes them move when they move.
Yeah.
What drives them to be out at very particular times every night. And I've discovered why.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I can tell you.
Okay, let's hear it. Why?
It has to do with the movement of the sun and the moon. So it's gravitational pull. So when the moon is right overhead or at the other side of the planet, exactly opposite, they'll move. If the sun is at its nadir, the lowest point behind the planet, they'll move. Those are the times of greatest gravitational pull.
Wow.
Dawn and sunrise, not as much, but it's right when the moon and the sun. So all dogs see into the ultraviolet range more than we can. They know where north is. They can see polarity lines, so they always know where north is. So, and they're tied into the magnetics, right? So I know where the den is. I know how long it takes them to pass a certain camera, say 24 minutes, right? And track it back. So if they appear at say 1:40 in the morning, I take off 24 minutes, I get 1:16, and that's the exact time the sun is exactly at the lowest point behind the planet. I'm
gonna have to make sure that my trail cam is up to date as far as the time, the date and all that, because sometimes if the batteries run down, I don't check that, because I'm always interested to know when they're coming through, how soon it was to when I drove off to work, or things like that, like the times my dog goes out. I've often wondered, and I'll have to start keeping track and sending them to you. I tried to send you, and it was too big. They said it was too big, but I'll have to send you some of the videos. We're going to start seeing them again, because like I said, we hadn't seen any for a while, and in winter we always see them come through, always. Yep, just same as the deer. We get lots of deer come through.
And part of the marvelous thing about their movement, they're sleeping where they're born, around the den, not in the den.
Oh, is that right?
So they'll sleep there, and then right when that particular time of sun or moon movement, they'll leave. A pair will go out to hunt, and as soon as they come back, another pair leaves, or two pairs will leave and go in opposite directions, one north, one south. So they never overwhelm the game, right? They're not all out, trying to hunt rabbits, like 8 of them running around hunting the same rabbit. So they'll go out like a shotgun blast, or in this relay.
Yeah.
So they'll leave at, say, in the summer at 1:30 in the morning, right? And then the next pair will leave at 3:30. And the next pair will leave exactly at sunrise and be back before the moon sets. Their timing is predicted. So the only real big thing that changes that behavior is weather. They don't like to get wet. They don't want to be up because they can't smell and they can't hear in the rain.
That's true. Yeah, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'll find photographs that are an anomaly. They don't seem to fit the model at all until I see on the Environment Canada's weather radar history, right? That there was a storm coming across the lake half an hour away. and
Yeah.
they will leave half an hour early to get ahead of the storm and be back before the storm hits. Right.
Ah, yeah.
So,
Oh,
so this is so I only have maybe I think 0.8% anomalies on my theory.
is there? I've never thought about the times that they come through. Like I said, I've never really kept track. It's more of I keep you track of the days. If it's a day that I was out there and did I just miss it, but I never thought about the times they come through because they come through at all different times of the day.
Yeah.
Here during like first thing in the morning, dawn, dusk, all the time. At night, quite often. Like I said, the sounds they made that night were pretty darn scary. It was, like I said, the hair on the back of your neck stood up hearing it. And now someone said it's because they had a kill, but then I read somewhere else that they don't do that when they've had.
You'll hear the big howl after sunset, right? And there's a sand dune near the cemetery in the park. I call it Howl Dune. They'll get up on top of that and just let rip. And it's a celebration. Like, we're here. They call to the other packs in the area. There's one up in Underwood, one down in Kincardine, one further east in Clams. And it's just like a joyful celebration of being alive. But then you'll also hear them singly barking to each other,
Yes.
saying, I'm here, or it's time to come back. I caught, or whatever they're saying to each other.
I
They're
wondered
calling, and
about,
I've got them calling.
yeah, I wondered about that because one it was almost dusk, and I thought I could hear dogs barking out in the bush behind us. They don't have dogs back there. And I remember I came in, I asked my husband, do coyotes bark? Because I hear barking back there. Is it dogs that are loose? And the two of us, we absolutely had no idea that they would bark if that was them barking. Because you just think of them howling or yelping.
Yeah.
You don't think of them as
So if I'm
barking.
out walking and I hear them barking, say at 7:30 in the morning, just
Yeah.
one bark, or a couple of barks. And if I know the direction where they're coming from, I know exactly how long it takes them to run back to the den. So I know if they've just left the rest area or return on their way back, right? But you'll hear all this yipping and excited barking when a patrol returns to the rest area, and everybody's jumping around like, where'd you go? What'd you see? What'd you eat? They've only
Yeah.
been gone 2 hours, but all
Greeting.
this wonderful excitement, as they welcome each patrol back.
Yeah, that's about it. Now, when they do have these bounties on them, which is terrible to think, it's because there's too many of them, or I don't understand why they have these bounties for them. I mean, not that long ago, a few years ago, I remember hearing about bounties to get rid of them.
Well, it's the same as people who've killed the wolves at Yellowstone, and they're federally protected in the
Yeah,
state. Um, it's a wild dog, got to kill it. It's just the lust for killing, or they think they're going to go after calves and sheep. But any good dairy farmer or shepherd knows just stick a donkey with your flock or the
yeah,
herd or a
yeah,
llama. It'll scare the coyotes away. They won't want to go near them. That's better because once you start to stress the pack out by hunting them,
yeah.
more than one female will go into heat, and then you'll have an explosion of coyotes. If you
Yeah.
leave them alone, they control their own number because the environment will only supply so much food. At Inver
Yeah.
Huron, we have 6 bears, 2 families of fishers, 2 families of foxes, say 12 coyotes, and all those eagles and crows, and there's enough to eat.
Yeah. Well, they're taking each other's food, like you say about the fish, which is such a shocker. I've never thought of them as eating fish, so that's really a surprise. But then I did read whether not opportunists, but they will eat whatever they need to survive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
And I always check their feces when I'm out walking, and I check to see what they're eating. Oh, right now they're eating chestnuts and acorns, until
oh,
they're all gone. Or they choose apples, but they'll eat apples off the tree, not on the ground, because somewhere along the line somebody's tried to poison them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they won't
That
eat dead
makes sense.
kill because
That
that same situation has happened. So they'll always hunt and kill their own. Yeah.
Well, it's good that they've learned this because it keeps their population growing, that they know enough not to eat what's on the ground. Because, yeah, I'm sure there are people that they won't shoot them, they're going to poison them.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. I'm such an animal lover, and I hate to hear when this happens. I mean, I don't even like the idea of people killing deer. That bothers me. But, to hear people that will shoot a coyote or fox, like you said, just for the fun of it, because they can't eat them. I don't think they will anyway. Just to think that they are maybe going to be a pest. And they're only a pest if people don't what can I say? Don't respect their life and what they're here for, and they're here to take care of things, to take care of our little guys, all the little, or we'd be overrun with rats, mice, rabbits, because rabbits sure breed.
Oh yeah.
And
So an interesting story I have attached to that is these coyotes have been studying control their rodent populations. So they'll hunt intensively for a month, and then they'll leave that place alone for 2 months. And in that time, you get 2 complete generations of mice born. Then it's back into there, lots of mice. So they're controlling the resources. It's quite beautiful. They're very smart animals.
oh gosh, yeah. I mean, when you think of it, they are so similar to a dog, because they do have that same DNA. And you think about how smart dogs are, how I know dogs themselves train them. Like one of our dogs, whenever it wanted to go out, it would go get my husband's hat and bring it to him, So it trained itself to tell my husband, hey, it's time for you. So, wolves and coyotes would be the same sort of thing. I mean, they teach themselves teach each other what to do. I hope people realize that they're here for a reason. Like once I saw all those posts last year about these coyotes on the ice, say, why are they out there? What are they doing? Are they, of course, the first thing everybody thinks is, are they rabid?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not something that you would even think about up here, is rabid animals. But that's the first thing they thought of. And people right away started talking about, well, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to shoot them. I'm going to bring some chicken to lure them in. I said, why? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go out and kill them for no reason? You can't eat them, so it's not, something that will, I don't understand it. It's a little crazy. Now, I was looking at some of the coyote facts, which are pretty interesting. Like we said, they mate for life. They have between 2 and 10 pups, but an average of 5. So that's not really a lot, because they only breed once a year, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because January, I believe January is when they are in heat, and February is when they procreate, and then March and April is when they have their pups.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty cool.
I have nailed it down to the exact days of when the pups are born.
Is that right?
The coyotes don't go out, and it's always 63 days after.
Yeah. 60.
And all of a sudden the pups are born, and the whole pack just stays tight, right? It's like a celebration. New generation.
Yeah, well, yeah, I could see that. Now, they say, like you were saying, that 25 square miles, is it? You said 25 square kilometers. Okay. And now, is it like when they have too many males, they'll shoo them off? Will they make them leave to go form their own pack somewhere else?
I don't know what the pressure is, but I'm sure there's some. It's probably the lead female that runs the pack, and like the pupping female. Yeah. And she'll just kind of nose them out. Like, you got to leave, guys. There's too many of us here.
Now,
unless they're mated up.
Why is it only one female that will have pups? Isn't that what
survivability?
Yeah.
So it keeps the numbers low so they don't overwhelm their resources.
Mhm.
Um, and the whole pack is needed ensure the survival of those pups.
Yeah.
So all the aunts and uncles, regardless of age, are there to take care of these pups, to escort them, to teach them, to
Yeah.
play with them, to get them running in straight lines. So I can always tell, you'll see in late May and June when the pups are out, you'll see their tracks. They're running like dogs with
Yeah.
an adult on either side of them,
Yeah.
corralling them in, right? Because they don't have their control yet. You got to
Yeah.
walk in a straight line. Don't go through the middle of an open area. Go along the edge so you can see everything and you can't be seen. All
Yeah.
these little tricks of survival.
Well, when you think that they only have possibly 3 to 5 pups, like that's the average, that's not many to keep their population up. I mean,
Yeah,
to me, it doesn't sound like many
yeah.
because, I mean, they're going to die of old age. Like you said, they're going to get hit by cars.
Yeah.
So
It's the young ones that get hit by cars because the old ones know to look both ways, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. And the young
But the
ones
young ones just kind of charge across the road and get hit.
always excited. Yeah. Yeah. Excited to follow their other ones. Yeah. It's now, is there any, have there been anyone in the park that has any complaints about the coyotes? Have you ever heard of
No,
anybody? They pretty much stay away from
no.
the campers or the ones I'm thinking of.
Yeah, the campers are always shocked to know that there's coyotes running through the campgrounds, right? Or they tend to avoid in the summer. But these incredible animals are creeping around. They don't see them. The
Yeah.
regular walkers, like people like me, dog walkers and things, they're in there every day. I
Yeah.
talk to them and they think the coyotes are wonderful. Like
Mhm.
they're their cousins, that
Yeah.
everybody loves them,
Mhm.
except for one or two people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Like,
but everybody wants them around. They love the presence. They have
yeah.
this sacred presence, in the park. And
Oh,
I think
yeah.
to a lot of people that live in Inver Huron, it is a sacred place.
Yeah, I mean, Inver Huron Park is a beautiful park. Now that it's open again, it's great for camping because it was closed for so many years because of
Yeah.
the water here. So it's nice to see it, and it's nice to know that there are the bears in there too. I know they're there because I hear about it all the time, and I know they come through here all the time. It's like I said, it's not something I've ever been afraid of. I would like to see one, to be honest. Like I said, I caught the back end of one on my trail cam going through my garden, but that's about it. Other than that, no, I don't see them here at all. Never see any bears here. Just
No, I haven't seen them. I've found their tracks. I've got them on camera.
oh yeah,
And their movement is predictable too. And
yeah,
I walked right past their summer sleeping spot, jumped out of my skin because one of them gave a grunt to let me know it was there. The
yeah,
next time I went by, I moved very slowly and I could hear them snoring,
yeah,
almost like a Three Stooges snore.
yeah. Well, David, it's been interesting talking to you about the coyotes, especially since they're here in my own backyard, per se, in Inver Huron. Because, like I said, too many people don't understand that they are part of the system and they're here for a reason. Like I say, I'm going to have to send you some of my video.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
My childhood was quite difficult growing up in the foster system. As a foster child, you don't get access to a lot of the same opportunities that biological children would. When I started post-secondary, the grants that I received from Children's Aid Foundation of Canada gave me the opportunity to choose what I wanted to do and not limit my choices to what I could afford on my own. Education makes every child unstoppable.
Growing up, I was surrounded by violence. I had the drive to pursue education, but I didn't have the means. I couldn't afford to because the child welfare system is not enough to support youth who want to go into higher education. And that's where the Children's Day Foundation of Canada stepped in to provide financial support. And today I have my neuroscience degree. Education makes